Good day, my beloved brothers and sisters. Thank you for joining our channel. We would like to share with you a message. Shocking! The Virgin Mary revealed the three great difficulties that we will go through in the next years. 4 centuries ago, the Virgin Mary began to inform us of what is taking place in our times. For 4 centuries, the Virgin Mary began to inform the world of what was to come in the 20th century, and from 1830 she appeared more and more frequently to indicate to us what heaven's plan is for the purification of the world and for its inhabitants to return to God. And lately, she's already making us like a Zoom, and she talks to us about what will happen in the 3 or 4 years ahead of us. First, she told those who govern the church and then the people. Here we will talk about how there is only one great message from the Blessed Virgin in all the apparitions, added to some particular revelations in each one, and how this macro message is beginning to show us the immediate future, that is, the situation, and not only the big ones. More than 400 years ago, she appeared to the Venerable Mother Mariana de Jesus Torres, sister of the Concepcionist order in Quito, Ecuador, as Our Lady of Good Success. As a sign of her veracity, she announced that papal infallibility would be declared a dogma of faith by the same pope chosen to proclaim the dogma of the Immaculate Conception. In 1854, Pius IX declared the dogma of the Immaculate Conception, and in 1870 he declared the dogma of papal infallibility, as defined by the First Vatican Council, thus fulfilling the Virgin's prediction. And on January 21st, 1610, Our Lady of Good Success told Mother Mariana that at the end of the 19th century, and especially in the 20th century, Satan would reign almost completely through the Masonic sect. He announced great attacks that would come on the world, on holy orders, on the sacrament of matrimony, and on the Church of Christ on earth. He spoke of perverted priests who will scandalize the faithful and cause good priests to suffer. There will be unbridled lust that will trap many souls. They will corrupt the innocence of children and modesty among women. There will be a lack of priestly and religious vocations, while those who should have spoken will be silent. Isn't this already happening? But he also said that heaven would intervene, he said. This will mark the arrival of my hour, when I will wonderfully dethrone the proud and accursed Satan, trampling him under my feet and chaining him in the infernal abyss. And 300 years after Our Lady warned us in Quito, she came to Fatima and warned us again. Through Sister Lucia, Our Lady of Fatima predicted that the last battle would be against marriage and the family, and more specifically, from the apparitions of La Salette, we are witnessing the greatest battle of all time, from when in the creation of the world, Saint Michael the Archangel fought against Lucifer and expelled him from heaven, shouting, "Who is like God?" Beginning with the Rue de Bac apparitions in 1830, as Our Lady of the Miraculous Medal, she has been appearing around the world like never before, and since the beginning of the 20th century, she has multiplied her appearances, because the Holy Trinity has entrusted her with the task of defeating Satan and his army, especially Freemasonry. These appearances must be considered as one, because they all give us the same central message, with only some particular emphasis in each one. It affirms the importance and power of the rosary, the importance of the priesthood, and the emphasis on the Eucharist, urgently calls for prayer and penance, and warns us of coming calamities if the conversion of humanity does not arrive. And she has established a schedule of events to come, which have been communicated to the seers in the form of secrets, which will be revealed on dates that heaven has defined. In Garabandal and Medjugorje, and in most of the apparitions that followed, Our Lady spoke of a warning, a miracle, and a punishment. For example, the Virgin, appearing under the title of Mary Reconciler of all peoples and nations, told the servant of God, María Esperanza, a mystic and seer from Betania, Venezuela, referring to the warning. The great moment of a great day of light is coming. The consciences of this beloved people must be violently shaken, so that they put their house in order. And then the miracle will come, a visible sign in the place of the true apparitions, so that people understand that the warning that the entire population of the world received came from God. And then in Akita, Japan, she appeared to Sister Agnes Sasagawa and promised on October 13th, 1973, that unless mankind repented and turned to God, a great fire would descend from heaven in a dramatic warning that we must mend our lives. And in this sense, she said in Medjugorje that the punishment can be mitigated through prayer and penance. Seer Mirjana said, "An evil that threatened the world has already been removed through prayer and fasting." And Our Lady also said, "You have forgotten that with prayer and fasting you can avoid wars and suspend natural laws." For this reason, the Blessed Mother requests prayer and fasting in all her apparitions. But in addition to this global framework, Our Lady also zooms in to tell us what is going to happen immediately. The journalist Michael H. Brown, editor of Spirit Daily, interviewed the renowned German seer Manuela Strack at the beginning of the year 2022. She told him that she met in private with Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger on February 10, 2004, and the next day with John Paul II, and gave him a secret that the Virgin had entrusted to him. And on October 30th, 2021, Manuela received permission from heaven to reveal what was in the secret, or at least part of it. The secret given to John Paul II included the vision of 3 keys. 18 years earlier, Our Lady appeared to him with 3 keys on a gold key ring, telling him the secret for John Paul II. She took the first key from this keychain and put it in Manuela's right hand. It was red, and she saw something like a movie flash past her, in which she was somehow involved. She saw hell, a very dark and cold abyss. She only saw his master Satan and the darkness, and then the vision turned to earth. She saw Islamic terrorist groups in different places, organizing and carrying out various attacks in all parts of the world, and a terrible persecution of Christians began. She saw the Christians of the Middle East and their martyrdom, and furthermore she saw increasing turmoil on earth, a brief reign of terror. Sin reigned because what was in hell was released in full force on earth. Civil wars were taking place in almost all countries. In addition, there were severe natural disasters because man abused God's creation. The earth trembled as a result of sin. Strong storms were hitting earth, and something fell to earth from the sky. The world briefly became Babylon, but on a grand scale. The power of Mammon, that is, the devil, supported the rulers, and a wave of violence swept across the world. In the year 2000 and 2005, Maria showed him an earthquake and a firestorm that would come, and something would fall from the sky. Then Maria put the second key into his hand, and there she showed him how she protected her children, and that the Marian priests and the children of Mary not only saved the Church of Christ, but also saved the world with a great sacrifice. And finally, Our Lady took the third key from her gold ring and placed it in Manuela's right hand. She saw Rome attacked and St. Peter's Basilica assaulted. The new pope had to go into hiding. The Church of Christ, the Catholic Church, was persecuted, secretly at first, then insidiously, and then officially. And there was a church which looked like the Catholic Church, but was ineffective because it was not the Church of Christ. and for this reason the priests who followed the precepts of God would have to suffer a lot, and even the Eucharist would be in danger. And in the year 2019, Manuela received a message from Our Lady indicating that we would have 3 difficult years. Let's remember that then came the pandemic and the war in Ukraine. But she said the difficult 3 years are just the bridge to something more severe. She was told that we have to pray a lot, that the church will have a very tough test in the year 2023. And on October 25th, 2022, the child Jesus told Manuela about the situation of the church. Pray for the world to receive mercy. Do not falter in your prayer. My church will follow me. Look, she is on Golgotha. But don't let that bother you, because everything has to be purified. Well, up to here, what we wanted to talk about, the macro messages that the Virgin has been giving to the world in the last 4 centuries, and that now she has started to give messages about the situation. And I would like to ask you if you think that it is now clearer that the prophecies that the Virgin has given in previous centuries are being fulfilled, or do you think that the message is still not very understandable and confusing?